What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Hano House. We got UFC 305 predictions. Let's start from the early prelims. I'm going to try to make this quick because this video is kind of pointless because no one's going to watch it. And then by the time 305 rolls around Saturday, it's irrelevant. So, Stuart Nickel versus Jesus Aguilar. Don't know either of these guys, so we go by physiognomy. Stuart Nichols, I almost called him Stuart Little. Stuart Nickel looks cooler, so let's go with him. Next up, Song Kanan versus Ricky Glenn. I'm gonna go with Song Kanan because probably cleaner striking. Ricky's been getting knocked out lately. Yeah. Next up, Tom Nolan versus Alex Reyes. So I think that's Dominic Reyes' older brother. Somehow he's a lot smaller. Don't know how that happened, but so that's not a good look, being related to Dominic. No offense, you beat Jones, but not looking good lately. Not a good look that he's like 38. Tom Nolan's a giant for lightweight. He's like 6'2". So let's go with Tom Nolan. I don't really know them either. Next up, start of the prelims, we got Jack Jenkins versus Herbert Burns. I'm gonna go with Jack Jenkins. He looks okay, and I don't think Herbert Burns is cut out for MMA. He like gets carried out on a stretcher every fight. I think that only happened once, but still. Next up, Casey O'Neill versus Luana Santos. I'm not going to do girl fights. Women's MMA shouldn't exist, so let's skip that. Next up, Joshua Culibao versus Ricardo Ramos in featherweight. I like Ricardo Ramos, but he's got that Michael Johnson effect where he either looks like the worst fighter ever or he's like on point. So he's like the risk pick. I think he's a slight underdog, so it's not even worth to pick him. Josh is the safe bet. Let's go with Josh Culibao by, he'll probably finish him. Ricardo gets finished a lot. Culibao was the dude who, like some Russian guy was like cheating a lot, like kicking him in the nuts, or I don't know what he was doing, but he's doing something dirty, like poking his eyes, and then Culibao came back and wins with a rear naked choke. That was cool. Next up, Junior Tafa versus Walter Walker, Johnny Walker's brother. So Walter has every advantage, like physically. He's younger, he's way bigger, he's taller. Problem is, he loses to Lucas Brinsky on his debut. I think his UFC debut. Like, if you're losing to Lucas Brzezinski, it's probably time to pack it up and retire, call it a career. But he still could win. I don't know. I'm going to go with Junior Tafa, though. I think he's got better hands. He probably would have beat Marcos de Lima on short notice if his legs wasn't getting chewed up. Marcos leg kicked the shit out of him and beat him like that. But Tafa could have won if he had, because I think he had better hands, but if it wasn't for that hole in his game. Next up, main card, here, what we all been waiting for. Lee the Leech Jinglian versus Carlos, I think it's Prats. I like Lee. I'm a fan of Lee, but it's hard to pick him here because striking is his bread and butter. He kind of sucks as a grappler. You can see that with Khamzat. Even though it's Khamzat, you should not be getting ragdolled like that. Carlos looked sensational against Charles Radke. I know Charles is kind of a can. No offense. I like you, Radke, but you kind of suck at UFC. So it's easier to look good when you're fighting a can, but Carlos looks sensational. His striking, whew. I'm going to go with him, probably by decision. The Leech has an iron chin. You're not knocking that guy out. So Carlos by decision. But Leech by knockout isn't a horrible pick here, and he is a huge underdog. Leon's got power. And this is a big step up in competition for Carlos. So we'll see. Carlos, safe bet. Lee, if you're feeling feisty. Next up, Tai Tuivasa versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Gotta go with Rozenstruik here. Tai looks like he's on his way out. He's on like a 4-fight skid. You never know with heavyweights, but I think Tai's just trying to like get a few more bags, couple more UFC bags before he, calls it a career. Yeah. Next up, Mateus Gamrot versus Dan Hooker. I don't know if Dan, got all like dyed his hair and got all those tattoos, and then he like started feeling himself, thinking he could like beat anyone, and like took a dumb fight, but horrible stylistically for him. Dan Hooker's always had sus grappling. Gamrot's a free pick. It just depends, decision, TKO, or submission. I'm gonna go with TKO. Third round, he's gonna have Dan on his belly, flattened out, back control, and just put it to him. Next up, Kai Kara France versus Steve Erceg. Another freebie. Like, Steve Erceg should easily win. Kai Kara France is like a gatekeeper, getting like body shot KO'd by Moreno in flyweight. Like, that can't be happening. Can't be doing that. Steve Erceg looks great. He looked great against Pantoja. You could call that a robbery. I didn't, because I bet on Pantoja. Yeah. Easy Steve Erceg pick. Crispy boxing, crispy hands. Let's not call it boxing, because we all know how sus MMA boxing is. Next up, main event. Whole reason I'm making this video. Dricus du Plessis Still Knox versus Israel, the gender bender. Just kidding. Style bender. Israel Adesanya. Hear me out. I'm a huge Dricus fan. Love his fighting style. I've been on the Dricus train ever since he knocked out Trevin Giles. Yeah, just awesome fighter. Vortrekker, whatever they're called. But hear me out. I'm probably going to bet like $200 on Adesanya, just because I will not be able to exist in this universe with Adesanya getting his redemption arc and not getting some sort of return on it. UFC's rigged. I just thought it was like conventionally rigged, with like them looking the other way when they test positive for steroids, or they take dives. But Jiri Prohaska recently brought into light that is rigged in with black magic and witchcraft and stuff like that, which I totally believe. So I think Israel has that power. I think the elders of UFC are doing everything they can so this guy wins. They have that whole DEI, motivation going on. He's got UFC privilege. He's getting like the best steroids ever, like newly discovered steroids they don't even know about yet. He's gonna be superhuman in there. They're doing shamanism, occultism. So if you believe in that stuff, if you believe in like the occult, UFC occult, then go with Adesanya. If you're more reasonable and like scientific or whatever, Dricus should win like pretty easily. Like Jan Blachowicz, whatever, completely neutralized Adesanya. Like, Adesanya did nothing. He usually doesn't do anything in his fights. Half of his wins by decision you could give to the other guy. I would have given the second Vettori fight to Vettori just for the hell of it. Like, you could give him the first one too. Why not? Like, that's what kind of fight it is. It's like point karate, like boring. Like, just give it to Vettori. He fucking marched forward the whole time and took him down, whatever. Whitaker beat him the second time. I mean, you probably could have gave it to Kelvin Gastelum, give it to Yoel Romero. Why not? Like he just looks so like such a crotty point fighter in like all these fights. Like, who else? I'm sure there's another one I'm missing, but yeah. Dricus should, you know, by mixing in the takedowns and like crazy Captain Underpants striking, he should win easily, but I don't think, I hope the black magic doesn't, I hope it's fake, because Dricus should win pretty easy. So let's hope he does. What else do I gotta say? I think the Alex Pereira KO was fake. Fucking, I think Alex took a dive. Either he took a dive, Dana gave him $1 million, or he's just, you know, what's the word? Like oaf, like gaumy, and he's got no chin when he's cutting all that weight. But another thing with Shaman, like Pereira should not have that kind of power at 38 years old. Former alcoholic, that should suck away all your power. You know what will give you lots of power? Aztec blood magic. Boom. So yeah, please Dricus win. I'm going for like a win-win situation. I will gladly pay $200 for Dricus to win. That's how I'm looking at it. I will sacrifice $200 for Dricus to win. And then if Adesanya wins, I get a return. I get a monetary return, so that's good. I'll be able to cope with the Adesanya redemption arc. I think that's it. If you want to double down on Dricus, I respect that. If you like, I'm trying not to be a Izzy hater, even though I am. I try not to be like that, all emotional, but you know, good luck on your bets. Hope you make some money. Peace out.